Hi, Fremont family. This week we are looking at Psalm 14. But first, you remember Psalm 1, the first one. In a way, it's very simple. It shows us there are two kinds of people, the righteous and the wicked. And that's not an uncommon motif in the Psalms. So if we look at our Psalm this week, Psalm 14, if we look just at the front and the back ends, we see the same thing. We see the righteous contrasted with the corrupt fool who says, there is no God. But then right in the middle of this psalm, David tells us in 7 different ways that all of humanity is vile and corrupt and not turning to God. This is such a clear and emphatic statement that Paul quotes these verses in Romans 3 as part of his framing of the good news about Jesus. So we have a paradox, at least in the context of this psalm. If there is not even one, who are these righteous people at the end of the psalm? The best jokes are the ones that you don't realize are a joke at first, right? The tension is created slowly with this great setup. You have no idea where it's going. And then the punchline arrives with a surprise, totally resolving the setup in a really unexpected way. And it seems like there's a similar dynamic in the Bible. Like our psalm today, there's a tragic situation that's vividly painted. Are there any who seek God? I believe that the Old Testament is perfectly designed as a kind of multi-dimensional setup for the gospel. And not the gospel as a product, but Jesus himself, his role, his power, his accomplishments, his nature, him as the king and center of the universe. That's this deep riverbed of hopelessness and longing is laid in verses like this. And at just the right time, Jesus comes as the punchline, making a way, filling that riverbed as the water of life. You know, once you hear a joke once, and especially if you've heard it all your life, that punchline loses its punch. And it's easy for us to default into the Sunday school mode of knowing that Jesus is the right answer to the question, without really being impacted by the magnitude of his great rescue operation. Here's some questions to consider as you spend some time with this psalm. So first, how exactly does David describe the evildoers in this psalm? How is it different than what you would have expected if you were just quickly skimming it? Second, in the context of this psalm, what would you say righteous means? There's no explicit reference to forgiveness. And what do you make of the parallelism between the poor and the righteous? And then lastly, what is God like in this psalm? Thank you.